Burnouts, we've got a loaded pod for you. There's just so much to talk about. We have a few Heat games to recap where the Heat played the Celtics as well as the Thunder, a loss against the Celtics, but a very, very exciting win against the best team in the league, best team in the West at the very least, which means best team in the league. We'll also be previewing some games that are coming up. The Warriors game, which is always exciting to talk about because of the Jimmy Butler drama of it all. We also have our second matchup against the Sacramento Kings. And any Heat fan who's been paying attention to this season knows just how important that is, or how important it feels at least, to get our lick back after they embarrassed us the last time the Heat played the Sacramento Kings. And then after that, I mean, we have some Ware stuff, some SPO stuff, some trade talk, some epic historical events like KD passing Dirk as sixth all-time scoring, some Lakers specific stuff. Gotta always try to sprinkle in Lakers topics when they're worth talking about. But point is, we got a whole lot to talk about. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll get to all that and more after this. So we're going to try to get through these recaps quick and easy, as we do have a fun segment at the back half of this podcast with a guest, Adrian Izquierdo, where we talk about some of the previews as well as some general stuff around the league, the Ware SPO stuff, trade stuff, a bunch of really fun stuff. So honestly, if you're not interested in hearing about the recaps, if that's old news for you, just go ahead and skip ahead. We'll have the timestamps in the show notes. But first and foremost, the Heat did play against the Celtics. It was a mostly close game until it wasn't. It was a loss against the Celtics in which, I mean, first and foremost, Anthony Simons just had a game, man. They called him the Inferno, apparently, and he could not miss. He was making tough shot over tough shot. He was 13 of 28 from the field, 7 of 16 from three, he had 39 points, I think his career high. I had questioned before the pod, or on the last pod, if we'd be able to stop the Buffalo, Mr. Derek White, and we did stop him. 1 of 7 from the field, 0 of 3 from three, but holy heck did Anthony Simons just go out there and blow the roof off. But some fun stuff from here. This was another good Bam game, his second in a row at this point. He had the highest plus minus on the team. Bam ended the game with 22 points, 8 of 19 from the field, 3 of 7 from three. He hit that really tough one at the end of the game. That was, super clutch, but didn't end up mattering because Simons was hitting his free throws. He had 5 assists and 4 rebounds, 3 of them on the offensive end. Kasparis played really well in this game. He was 3 of 4 from the field, 3 of 4 from three specifically. He made some free throws. He had some rebound moments. He had 8 assists, his career high so far in his short career, with only 3 turnovers. Not bad for this young rook against a tough defense in the Celtics. 12 points on that. He had this rebound too that I really like. The effort from Kasparis has just been so exciting. There was this play where Garza had the rebounding position on Powell. Powell did manage to kind of get him a tad too far into the rim so that he wasn't like the greatest position for rebounding. But Cass comes from behind and slaps the ball away from Garza to be able to secure that rebound. And those like small plays are the plays that Spo is talking about in regards to Cass versus Ware, for instance, or Ware's effort and motor and different positions. But Cass is just nonstop motor. Did want to mention this crazy stat too from Boston that the announcers on Boston's end said. Boston is 6-2 this season when opponents score 33 points or more in the first quarter. That is crazy. That is just a weird stat. 6-2. They win games when opponents score 33 on them in the first quarter. Just had to call that out. This is our second loss to Boston. The other loss we won't talk about too much. Doesn't matter. Second night of back-to-back. We had a bunch of guys out. This was a close one. And honestly, I feel like we should have won this game, but can't be too mad about it. Things happen, and it is what it is. We were close for most of the game, and this was a game, I will say, that Ware barely got minutes. He got 8 minutes and 49 seconds, and he was a -8 in those minutes. And he got pulled early. He wasn't shooting well, but that wasn't the issue. It was the motor again. He had some rebounds, which some fans were pointing out we needed to play him more to get more rebounds, but Spo was clearly not happy with the motor from Ware in this game. Moving on quickly to the Thunder game. Man, what I didn't want to happen happened. I'm back in. I said this to friends. I said the worst thing that could happen is the Heat win this game and make us feel like we're a competitive, really good team. And damn it, it happened, and I feel this way now. We won a clutch game against the Thunder, anytime that you can beat the Thunder, you have to feel good about it, because at the end of the day, the Thunder have only lost 8 games, and 3 of those are to the Spurs. So we are one of 5 teams, 6 teams. I'm sorry that my mental math is screwing up right now, but we are one of the few teams who have beat the Thunder this year, and they barely ever lose to the East. They lost to the Hornets, so we are in the same class as the Hornets. But some fun stuff. We had 34 more field goal attempts this game than the Thunder, and it was still close, which is crazy. We won the turnover battle, which is also insane because they are a great team at steals and they barely turned the ball over themselves. They only had 3 steals in this game and they averaged 10 a game. We got them to turn over the ball slightly more than their average. I think 14 to 12 would be their average. 33 second chance points from the Heat. They normally allow 14. So we were just beating them at stuff that they're normally good at, which is very interesting. And even when you look at the shot quality out of winning this game 140 to 109. So if this game was played on paper, not in real life, 140 to 109. Did want to call out that they did have an injury. J-Dub went down fairly early into the game with a hamstring injury, out indefinitely now. So hopefully for him that he is better soon, or better before the playoffs for this team. But in this game specifically, we were out Davion, Hero, and Jaime. So they weren't the only ones with injuries. This was the 3rd game in a row in which Bam was cooking. He had a career high 6 threes in this game. He is back on this Snatch Your Chain tour. When teams have someone who he thinks is in the running for Depoy over him, he's going to go out there and cook. At least he was early in the season before this slump of his that was miserable for us to watch, but he's back in it, man. 9 of 22 from the field, 6 of 10 from 3, 6 of 6 from his free throws, 12 rebounds, 6 of them offensive, 4 assists, 1 steal, only 1 turnover with 30 points. And he was a game high plus 11. Just a wonderful game from Bam. And on that Snatch Your Chain tour, back in December, he had 27, 14, and 3 against the Clippers, against Zubac. And then also 25, 10, and 4 against the Clippers in November. And then earlier in the season against JJJ on the Grizz, he had 24, 5, and 4 in that blowout where I don't think he even played most of the second half because of how much we were blowing them out. A few other things from this OKC game. Big shout out to Myron Gardner, 9 points in 1 minute at one point in this game, and was just energizing everybody. He ended with 11 points in 14 minutes. He was a +6. He had 5 rebounds, an assist, a block, which we'll talk about in a second here. But he caught 2 flights. He woke up at 3 a.m. in Sioux Falls and caught 2 flights to make it to Miami for the game, same day. So incredible to be able to do that and still have the performance he had and come out with the energy he had. So just shout out to him for doing what he did out there. Kasparis continuing to impress me. He was very cold this game. He was 1 of 7 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, but 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 0 turnovers, which was impressive to me. He was a +4, and more than just that was the defense too. He had some really tough defensive possessions. I mean, he does well on that end. He's always trying his heart out, but specifically on that Gardner block, he walled off SGA. He went chest to chest or chest to shoulder with him and was able to stop his drive enough without fouling that Gardner was able to come from behind and get that block. So really shout out to Kasparis for that defense on one of the hardest players to guard in the whole league. And he's a rook, man. He's 19 years old. And he just had some really nice assists. There was one in specific to Powell that I may or may not clip later that was just chef's kiss. He just has a great eye for assisting and for passing the ball. On Ware, he did have way more energy this game. Definitely felt like he was taking to heart with some of what was said, but it did seem like it waned a little bit. And later on in his minutes, he only played 16 in the game, and he was a -9. But I liked some of what I saw from him. 9 rebounds, 5 of them offensive. He had a block, he had a steal, 1 of 3 from 3, 3 of 11 from the field. He did have some shots that I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but good game overall. The SGA foul stuff, they called it an offensive foul, which was rare, and I thought it kind of looked like an offensive foul. The refs reviewed it, still said it was, and then days later, they've now said that it was supposed to be a defensive foul on Pella. Not worth arguing here. I don't care too much, but Shea does continue his wilt watch. That was my very quick speed through recap. We're gonna get into the fun stuff now with Adrian Izquierdo and talk about some previews and the league-wide stuff after this. We are now joined by a good friend of the pod, Adrian. Adrian, thank you for joining us. How are you feeling today, bud?
Good, man. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. We've got some fun games coming up. Not No, I was gonna lie. I was gonna say not that any game isn't fun. There are definitely games that aren't fun, but anytime that you're facing off a former loved one is always going to be a good time. The Heat are playing the Warriors tonight, I believe, Monday night. Let's just make absolute sure of that.
Yep.
And I guess the first question I have to ask here is, when do you think it'll stop being an event to play Jimmy Butler? Because right now it still feels like it, even though this is like the third or fourth time that we're facing off against him.
Is he gonna play?
That is a good question. That is a very good question. Let's look
If
at the
he
Warriors
plays,
injury
I
report.
mean, at a certain point, we gotta let it go. I mean, he's there, he's happy. They're dog shit. We'll get
Yeah,
into it a little later, when we talk about teams that possibly are gonna be trading away assets and
yeah.
rebuilding.
He should be playing. Yep, he's not listed. Draymond's day to day, but Jimmy is not listed, so
Yeah,
he should
but
be
you know
playing.
how that goes.
Yeah.
If
So
he doesn't feel like playing, he might not play. I mean, I think we should let it go, man. We gotta let it go. Let's enough time's passed, enough games have gone by between us and the Warriors that it's like, all right, it is what it is. It was great while he was here. He left a sour patch, but
yeah, it's over at this point. It is. The last time he played the Warriors, he didn't play. There was no Steph, no Jimmy, no Draymond, Kuminga, Horford. They had barely anybody out there. We did win that game, even though it was like unreasonably close for most of the game until the fourth. But it is exciting for Bam, who's coming off of 3 very hot games, to maybe get a chance to like showcase himself against a former teammate. I'd say we're not going to get Hero because we'll get into that a little bit later. But Hero's made of glass. Uh,
yeah, man.
so it really is like it's curious to see. Of course, I want to win. I want to make it seem like we came out on the winning end of that. Not that I'm not
That's
too
a fact.
excited about the Warriors' prospects in general. I think obviously they have Steph Curry, who I'll never say a bad thing about that man, but the team's just too old and the West is just too stacked. As good as they are, like, I think their ceiling is a second round exit, Like,
Yeah, and I think that's putting it lightly, to be honest with you.
yeah, like that
As
that's
if they
giving
get
them a lot
matched
of
up with
credit.
one of these top 5 teams, which, well, essentially they will have to be matched
Yeah,
up
it's like
top 5 team. I don't know if I like the chances, aside
like
from
I don't
just
take them
Curry being
against
Curry.
I don't take them against the Thunder or the Nuggets any day of the week. Like that's donezo if it's one of
No,
those
but
two teams. Obviously, assuming health. But yeah, it's just tough scenes for them. So I don't know what's going on there. I mean, even Kerr has said it himself. He's like, we're a fading dynasty. Uh,
what does
so
that
it's
mean? Is he going back to TV? Is he gonna quit coaching and go back to
he
TV?
didn't get his extension. I think he's lining it up with this might be towards the end of his time there at the Warriors. Maybe he's done with it. I don't know. It's like Steph is still Steph, but how many more years of Steph do we have? Maybe he pulls a LeBron and we have 4 more years of Steph being this great. So I think there's some trepidation around like, should we really go all in with Steph when he's 37
Yeah.
years old? And he's had injuries before too. I mean, more so
Yeah.
earlier in his career, but they tack up. He gets those random ankle injuries, those random leg injuries with how fast
Mhm.
he plays.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you were the Warriors, would you be going all in on Steph, like trying to do everything you can for those last few days, or would you just be ready to let's get set for the next part of this?
I think the bigger question is how they're set up financially at this point, right? I do think that the obvious answer would be yes, you do what you can to finish the rest of Curry's career with a fighting chance at possibly winning another
Yeah,
title. That being said, they're not in a position to do that right now.
no,
Like from a whole team, like zoomed out standpoint, they're not in a position to make a run. They're not a trade away. They're not a player away. They're not 2 players away.
yeah,
So like at this point, it while the obvious answer should be yes, you try to maximize the rest of what's left of Curry's career. I just don't think that it's realistic.
that's the thing. It's just what really can be done without them moving Jimmy or Draymond. Which even then, I don't know how much you're getting back for those guys if you try to
Not
trade
enough.
them. And they don't have young assets that have that much value. There's of course the whole Kaminga thing going on where he's demanded a trade and the front office well, not the front office. I think the front office likes him, but Kerr hates him. And if there was any potential for value there, they haven't given him the chance to show it. So like that was what could have been their one good trade piece.
Yeah.
And they squandered that opportunity. There's a lot of rumors around them maybe landing Michael Porter Jr. And I've talked about it. I think he's honestly a good fit for their team. Like
Yeah.
makes them better. But to your point, they're not a Michael Porter Jr. away from taking over the West. Like
No.
it'll make them feistier, but
Yeah.
it's
I mean, they'll score more points, but I'm not necessarily sure that it's not enough, especially in the West when you've got these teams that really do play defense. You know,
defense and
these
they
teams
hustle
play defense.
nonstop.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough scenes. I think it's, and to their credit, like Steph is still playing spectacular. Jimmy, even to his credit, is playing wonderfully. I know Warriors fans want him to shoot the ball more, which is like an ongoing thing with anyone who's ever been a fan of Jimmy Butler, but all the advanced metrics point to Jimmy Butler being super impactful every time he's on the floor. So, like it or not, I mean, he creates winning plays, and I think he's ramping up more now. Typical, we've all seen the calendar, or at least every Heat fan has seen the calendar where Jimmy Butler doesn't exist for like the first 4 months of the season. January, February starts ramping up, and then post All-Star break, he's like getting ready into playoff form, and that's every year he's been doing it. So,
Yep.
they're probably in store for some better Jimmy games, but yeah, this team is just they're too old. It's not enough. I would be absolutely shocked if they even made it to the third. If they made it to the Western Conference Finals, wow, that would
I would
be
be shocked they made it to the second round.
yeah. That's it. Yeah,
Just because of
especially
who
with
they have to play against, and their record's not good enough to be one of those top 4 teams to play against one of the weaker teams, so
yeah. Right now they're at eighth in the West, which would mean if everything stays solid, they play the
they're
Thunder in the
getting
first
swept.
round. Yeah, and I don't think they have a chance against the Thunder in the first round. And then even then, the top four are the Spurs, the Nuggets, and the Wolves. The
Exactly.
only team I would maybe give them a chance against, no, never mind. I'm not even gonna say it. I'd say the Spurs just because of the youth there. Maybe they can like punk them, but the Spurs have shown so much that the defensive intensity from not just Wemby but all their guards is just
Yeah.
it's on another level. Yeah, I don't think they have a chance here. Just some small things to hit on before we get out of here. Wouldn't be the Burnout Basketball podcast if we didn't burn ourselves out looking at Warriors stats, or stats in general. The Warriors currently in the league have the 13th offense, 9th defense. And Miami, which we had a long slump there, have slipped all the way to the 19th offense and 8th defense. It's actually crawled our way back on offense. I think earlier in the season we were even further out, like in the 20s.
Yeah.
In the last 2 weeks, more specifically, though, the Warriors have the first offense in the league in the 17th defense. So that made me think, what the hell's going on, right? So I wanted to look just to see, put on my hater hat. Uh, most of those wins, most of these games weren't against good teams. And that's where when sometimes you look at the last 2 weeks, sometimes it can be indicative of a team that's really coming into form. And maybe sometimes these wins against bad teams do end up catapulting you to be able to win against good teams, but that's yet to be seen. So right
Yeah.
now, they've won 5 of their last 6. They won 3 in a row. They beat the Hornets. They did beat the Knicks. I don't think Jalen Brunson played in that game. I'll double check that later. I don't care right now. They beat the Blazers, the Bucks, and the Kings. And then they lost to the Hawks. So,
The
there's not
Hawks
a
without Trey Young.
there's not a game in there where I'm like, the Warriors are back. It's I need to see that happen against some better teams. In terms of their offense, in terms of their defense, they're 24th in turnovers. They turn the ball over a lot. A lot of that actually has been Draymond. He's been pretty bad on that end right now. They don't rebound the ball well. They allow a lot of offensive rebounds. Um, of course, in their offense, you could guess it. They're number 1 in 3-point frequency. They shoot the most threes in the league. They shoot them from the corner. They shoot them from everywhere at pretty much equal frequencies, and they don't really shoot from anywhere else that much. And they're accurate as hell. Anytime they get a shot, it's a good shot for the most part. It's, Steph Curry finding himself open, finding ways to make magic happen. Jimmy Butler even is an efficiency wizard. We've seen it. And then their defense is still pretty good. They don't let you get to the rim. They do allow a lot of short middies, a lot of middies from the paint there. And teams have shot well from everywhere against them, except from 3. Yeah. Yeah. So, they've done a good job of preventing teams from getting to their shots, but when they do get to their shots, teams are shooting well. And they've also had some luck with teams shooting poorly from 3. They've on wide open attempts, which is 6+ feet from the nearest defender, uh 3-point. They've had 19 attempted field goals from three from them against them, and teams are only shooting 35% on those. So 35% on a wide open three is, you'd assume that's a little bit higher, a little bit higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, overall, I talked about this with Pupo. We made a long road trip prediction podcast, part of the
Yeah.
podcast, and we both predicted this a win for the Heat. We beat the trap game Warriors, and now we got to beat the real Warriors at home. How are you feeling? Are you? This is purely a vibes, speculative piece. How are you feeling going against the Warriors tonight?
Dub City.
Dub City in the Dub City. That's what we're doing. So
Yes.
we'll
Yes.
move
I
on.
think Bam is gonna go off again. I
He's
think
three
that
games in a row right now for Bam. 3 games in a row.
the tide's turning. I think that the slump was really, really, really bad. But like, and we'll get into this when we get into the whole Khalil situation. But Bam had some very interesting comments about the difference
Yeah.
between discipline and just reacting and doing
Yeah.
better when you're being told you're not doing good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And I think his discipline is kicking in right now.
fully echo that sentiment. There was also, and I didn't write this in the show notes, but it was an interesting tidbit from Spo that makes me very excited, curious for the second half of the season. He mentioned in the post game that, and I'm, not, this isn't an exact quote. This is me taking his words and trying to put them in layman's terms for the most part, that we had that like free flowing reaction offense to start the season. And then as we've seen slowly but surely, we're incorporating a little bit more screens. At the beginning of the season, Bam said it several times that Spo didn't call a play at all for offense. He just wasn't calling plays. Now Spo is starting to call a few more. And Spo mentioned in the post game that they've built already enough comfort with that reaction offense, that free flowing offense, that now if he starts throwing in some plays, that the team should be comfortable enough that when the play doesn't necessarily lead to what they wanted it to, it's like if it's Norman Powell coming off a screen to drive into the paint and get a short midi, if that gets sealed off, now with how much they've practiced that free flowing offense, everyone should feel comfortable to know, okay, it was my guy who left to seal off Norm. If I step out here, I should be able to do this and get an
Yeah.
open shot or lead to the open shot. So I'm very curious to see. I mean, Spo is a genius, man, and he tests things all throughout the whole regular season, which is why I very rarely ever critique too much what he's doing in the regular season, because I know he's usually just honestly testing shit out. That's what
Yeah.
he does. And that's good coaching. That's just straight up good coaching.
Yeah, man, and it's about finding your spots, right? When to test things out, when to kind of realize that you just need to win. And when it's okay that to, like I said, to test things out, and even if it does cost you a game or two, but you got to
Yeah,
figure that out.
you got to build those habits. You're never going to be able to really, truly accept what he's preaching and build habits if every time things get rough, you pull the ripcord and you say, no, never mind. We'll go back to what we used to do.
Exactly.
You,
You have
you
to build
can't you
on.
can't live your life that way with anything, let alone basketball, which is built on
Yeah.
habits. If you're trying to change something, then you have to stick through it, even if it's hard, even if it's not working at times, to
Yep.
truly get an answer. And talking about something that's hard to get through, the next game that we will be playing on this road trip is the Heat will be playing the Sacramento Kings. Any Heat fan who has been keeping track of Heat fan stuff will remember that the Sacramento Kings absolutely punked us the last time we played. It was a sad game. It was not a fun game. Zach LaVine had the game of his life. They beat us 127 to 111. Zach LaVine went 12 of 24 from the field, 8 of 13 from three, by the way. 42 points for Zach LaVine.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, just was a fireball. And then on our end, I mean, Bam was 0 of 3 from three. Powell was 1 of 5. We didn't have Hero. We didn't have Pella. We didn't have Davion. So we were out a lot of guys who have all proven to be impactful. Jovic had a pretty bad game in this game. I mean, he had an average game compared to some of his games, but yeah, it was just not a fun time if you're a Heat fan. That felt like kind of the beginning of like the real dooming for all of us. We're like, what the hell is even going on here? And rather than focus too much on this, and I'm gonna say off the top, like we should win this game, right? They're the Kings.
Yeah.
They're not good. I I genuinely don't understand how this team wins games. They don't make sense. The they just have a bunch of guys who shoot mid-rangers. And to that point, when I was looking at their stats, in terms of frequency, where they like to shoot from, they're 29th in at-rim frequency, which is pretty terrible. And
Yeah.
they're the top one team in shooting short and long mids. They just live at the mid-ranger, and they're 30th. They're dead last in three-point frequency. So
Wow.
ha,
They live in the mid.
they just live in the mid, and they're accurate from it for the most part. They're not so accurate from the long mid, but they hit their short middies. Their defense is like just good enough. They have a pretty good transition defense. They actually fall apart a little bit more off of live rebounds, but the good thing for them, the Heat actually have a bad offense off of live rebounds. But yeah, just they're good at preventing rim shots, like a team getting to the rim, but they allow a lot of short middies as well. So they just like want to have a midi battle against you and see who wins. And
Yeah, we
they're
can't lose the mid battle, you know?
N- no, we can't. They've also had some luck from three. I'll call that out too. They've had some luck in terms of teams shooting poorly from three, but not so much. I looked at their shot quality, and based on shot quality, they're due for like some negative regression. Like they've had some luck in their wins or some luck in their games in particular. But I do want to call out they have some good wins pretty recently. They beat the Knicks, they beat the Lakers, they beat Houston. Uh, and when I looked at the shot quality for these games, again, this is like the most nerdy of nerd stats. It's nice to look at more for season long stuff and not much game to game stuff, but it helps just to see what happened. Was the team getting good looks and they just weren't falling? So if the game was played on paper and not in real life, uh, they scored 105 against the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks scored 105 against the Kings and they should have hit 127. So big difference there. The Lakers had 95. They should have scored 114. The Rockets had 110. They should have scored 122. These are just some examples of like, they're winning some games partially because they're getting lucky. And I hate to point it out to that. And honestly, like if there's any Kings fans who come across this, how are the Kings winning games? You tell me, please. Cause I'm not gonna lie to you. I've seen one
Kings
Kings game
taking
this
nights
season.
off. That's how.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I've seen one Kings game this season. That's actually a good point. That's actually a good point. People taking nights off. Actually, to that point, I forgot about this. Did you hear what happened with the Rockets and the Kings?
No.
The Rockets apparently couldn't find a hotel in Sacramento. So they stayed an hour and a half away. I forgot where their airplane landed and stayed there overnight and then drove an hour and a half to the game on a bus.
Oh, yeah, they didn't feel like playing.
You couldn't find a hotel. And I've read some comments that the Kings apparently have, I mean, most teams do have a hotel built just for incoming teams. Like they have sections blocked off for incoming teams to come and play and stay at.
Yeah, I think the only thing that can change that is if there was another major sporting event, where the hotels would already be booked. That being said, though, yeah, these things are the logistics for NBA are already taken care of for the most part before, like when the schedules are announced.
Yeah, way
There's
ahead of
usually
time.
preset hotels in each city that they stay at already. For example, in Miami, sorry, I hope I'm not breaking any news anywhere or leaking any weird information, but it's the Four Seasons downtown.
Yeah.
Um, in Miami at least, when NBA teams come to Miami to play. So right now, Indiana in the college football playoff, they're staying at the Intercontinental downtown. Like these things are already pre-planned, preset. So that's extremely strange. The only thing I can think of would be some other major sporting event or major concert event in Sacramento that would impact um the hotel. That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's rather strange.
Yeah, they stayed in San Francisco, the Rockets did, rather than go down to
Oh, they might have just wanted a good night out,
That's what I'm thinking. Like, because to that point, I mean, and I listen to a lot of basketball podcasts, and to the people pre-plan this stuff to the point where Windhorse, he already books hotels during the time that the finals will be for the teams that he thinks will make it to the finals. So he has like a running hotel reservation in Oklahoma City, in Denver. I think he might have made one in New York just in case. But he does
It's
this for a
not
few
necessarily
teams.
him, it's probably ESPN, but yes.
Yeah, but he has them do it for him, of course, but more so than others. But the point being that like, yeah, all this stuff like you're gonna play the Kings on this day, way ahead of time. So, very curious. But again, last time I did make a bunch of excuses. The Kings were on a 4-game losing streak. They had a bunch of days rest. We were in our third game in 4 nights, the second night of a back-to-back. We had a ton of injuries. Bam played 39 minutes in that Orlando game that was super close that we also lost. Zach LaVine had the game of his life. There was a lot of ways for me to say that this was just an outlier. So please, Heat, please prove me right. Prove that this was just a bad game and that we play well and beat the Kings. And then we get another win in a row. That would make 3. I
Mm.
did want to call out quickly, though, that Precious Achua, who was very, for a very short stint on the Heat this season, is having a good season for the Kings. He's playing
Good
well.
for him.
Yeah. Shout out to Precious. I always liked him. I don't really know what happened there, but
I always liked this game. I just always felt like it was extremely similar to Bam,
yeah. Yeah. And maybe it was
and
for
it
his
just didn't
better that
work
he didn't
out.
stay on the Heat. Maybe he's able to have more minutes on this team and really show himself.
Yeah, and look at the struggle that it's been to convince Spo to go double big,
Yeah.
right? Now imagine double big with Precious and Bam. Nah.
No, yeah, it just wouldn't. I don't think that works. I don't think it works.
So it is what it is.
Yeah, which well, you said it. You said his name. We'll let's get to the fun stuff. Let's get to the SPO stuff. But before, and we will talk purely about the comments, about the words that were said back and forth. I did have this thing that I've thought about, nothing, groundbreaking, but
Okay.
thinking about the idea that Spo has had and his frustrations he's had with Kalel. Seeing, which is really surprising to me, that Kalel has like a lot of stands already on the internet. Um, there's been a lot of talk about all this, about Spo's comments, Ware's comments, Wade, UD's comments. We're going to get into all of it. But whenever Spo calls out Kalel, like setting aside whether he should be doing so publicly or not, which again, we'll get into that part, you'll see the fans and the Kalel stands fire off some whatabouts. Like, what about Bam not making a shot during his slump? What about the bad passes by Jovic? What about this? What about that? And what really I want to hone in on is the difference between precision and accuracy. Bam going cold during a slump, that's precision. Jovic throwing a pass into the third row, precision. That's just not being precise. You're trying to do the right thing. You're aimed at the right target, but the execution's not there. That just comes with refinement, reps, confidence, muscle memory. That's night to night stuff. You can't coach somebody to shoot better. Well, shooting coaches can over a long stretch of time, but everyone has cold nights. Kalel's mistakes are accuracy. It comes down to effort. When you're not going hard, when your motor, which was part of his scouting report coming out of college, isn't running, that's when your accuracy breaks down. When you're late on a rotation because you can't get there in time because you didn't sprint. When you forget the offensive set because you weren't locked in maybe during the huddle. When you're standing around on the glass and you didn't really commit to crashing. Those effort issues create the accuracy problems. And by that way, like, this isn't new information. This was a known thing with him. So when Spo calls him out, it's not about missing shots or blown layups. And that's why when people are saying, what about Bam missing shots? What about Drew Smith going out there and bricking shots? That's not what he cares about. Because what are you going to tell someone? Yo, make more of your
Make a shot.
threes. Yeah, like, that's not good coaching. That's not how you do the thing. But effort, which leads to you, or a lack of effort, which leads to you being in the wrong place at the wrong time, that's stuff that's a choice. And
Hmm.
under Spo, under the Heat organization, this entire identity is built on effort and discipline, to what you were saying earlier. And that's the stuff that keeps you on the court. Whereas when you lack those things, you're on the bench. He doesn't care how talented you are. It's, can you execute the things that I want you to do? Can you try your hardest every single time? How do you feel about what I just said? This nonsense about, the effort, the accuracy, the precision, and Ware not
I
being
agree with you
accurate.
wholeheartedly, dude. Yeah, I think it comes down to habits at the end of the day. And we
Yep.
can get into the semantics about whether Spo said the right thing or not. He already came out and apologized and said that he took the wrong approach, whatever. But he was absolutely right. And he said it the entire season.
Yeah.
I have to make him feel like I'm impatient with him while still understanding that I do need to be patient with him.
Yeah.
But
It's a
he
hard
doesn't need
balance
to feel that. Spo's made that very clear. He needs to feel that I'm impatient with him.
so that he can
so
Keep
that he can
going.
push himself to be better, so that he can have better habits. Again, we'll get into Wade and UD's comments, but Bam said it. It's not always just about being reactionary to when your coach calls you out, right? And then
Yeah.
have a good 3, 4 game stretch and then go back to doing whatever you were doing before. It's about the discipline, it's about consistency. And that's how he's gonna get on the floor. I also think that Spose had to come and talk about this way too much.
It's been too much.
It's
It's
way too much. Like he didn't. Bam talks about how when he was a rookie and when he was young, that he wanted to physically fight Spo.
yeah.
Like he wanted to fight Spo because he was stuck behind Hassan Whiteside, who was doing what Ware's doing now,
Yeah.
right? Putting up his 20 points, 20 rebounds,
Getting
10
3 blocks.
blocked. But
Yeah.
then we're losing games because yeah, you're the only person playing, buddy.
Yeah.
And you're in our plus minus when you're on the floor is hot garbage. Um,
And that's what's happening with Ware right now. I mean, like, to what we were saying about
exactly.
the double big lineup, there's moments where it's like, this should work. This looks good. Bam and Ware can both space the floor. Like, why is it not working? And a lot of the time, it's because Ware's getting abused in the pick and roll.
Yep.
And that can't happen. And I don't know how anybody who actually watches the game can't visibly tell the difference between the times that Ware is actually trying his ass off and the times he's not. Because it is
But
clear
they're not
as
watching
day.
that deep.
Yeah, I'm like, in December when he was having that stretch, aside from the good shooting, there was moments where, I mean, I wrote this down where I'm like, I could make a montage, like a highlight reel of his rebounds, just how much effort he was putting into jumping and skying high to secure rebounds, even on the defensive end. Just that amount of extra effort to make sure like no one else is getting close to rebounding this ball. Whereas there's games where he's just a little late to the rebound.
A little later, he's getting boxed out by a point guard, and you just kind of like,
He didn't notice the point guard get the position on him, push him out of the way, and then yeah,
yeah, it's like you
what are you
shouldn't be
doing
getting
here?
bullied by someone a foot shorter than you.
No. So yeah, man. I'm like I get both sides. Ware is incredibly talented. He has a lot of that, but man, he needs to put it all together on a consistent basis. You can't play a guy and him be okay with the idea that I can try sometimes and try and not try other times. That's not how it
Yeah,
works.
not here at least.
No.
Not at all. Here it's all about the habits, the discipline, like you said. It's the commitment, the consistency,
It
and he's not bringing it. And I was not a fan of what he said about the whole
I was gonna
situation.
say I didn't
His
like his
approach to
comment.
it kind of put me off to like, all right, dude, like you clearly think very highly of yourself, and as you should, especially because of all the work you've had to do to get to the level that you're at and to get to
Yeah.
the NBA and all of that good stuff. That being said, when your coach calls you out, you don't come and double down in the public.
No, and also what he said almost kind of proved Spo right.
Yeah,
He he mentioned, I would say I had more minutes 8 weeks ago, but I guess to try to bring that same productivity to the minutes I'm getting now. Yeah, whatever minutes you're getting, you need to be productive. It That's
and
the
that's what
point.
UD said.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
exactly what UD said. UD said you got to maximize when you're in there so that he can't take you out. Make him not be able to take you out of the
yeah,
game.
because he's going to, like we were talking about earlier, Spo's gonna tinker with lineups. He's gonna play with stuff. It might not
Yeah.
even be because of anything you did that he's gonna play you 10 minutes this game instead of 24. But if in every time you play, if in all of those minutes you're busting your ass and you're going off, then he's gonna feel like I have to play this guy more because he's always playing well.
Exactly.
But you look at, I mean, like the opposite end of this is like, look at Pella, man. Just pure heart, pure hustle. Some games he's starting, some games he's off the bench, some games he's playing 25, 30 minutes, some games he's playing 15. He is nonstop the moment he gets into the game. Nonstop. And that's what you have to be, especially, and like, sorry that you were born 7-1, but especially when you're a center. Because you
Yeah.
cannot let people just get to the rim on you. That can't be a thing. You have to secure the rebounds. You have to be able to seal people off. You have to get the rebounding position. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
I'll even bring up something from a few years back, man. Famous Dwayne Dedman. Like, come on, man. He used to play 4-minute spurts.
Yeah, the
Last
mechanic.
2 minutes of the last 2 minutes of the first 2 of the second, to give Bam a breather. What did he do? Hustle. In those 4 minutes, he gave it everything he had to the point where he would come out 2 minutes into the second quarter and would
Exhausted.
throw up on the sideline.
Yeah,
He would
exhausted,
be
dude. And
dying, throwing up, asking for water. Like, he left it all out on the court in those 4 minutes, and he maximized that, right? Whatever happened at the end when he threw the the Theragun and all that funny
yeah,
shit,
yeah.
like, okay, cool, whatever. But that's like, my point is, like, you have to maximize the situation, and Pele is maximizing the situation that he's in. He's taking advantage of all the minutes, and yeah, like you said, you have to understand, it's an 82 game season. Like, you just can't play 30 minutes every game in the 82 game season. It's just not the way Spo's ever worked, especially with young players, and rotation guys. And he hasn't done enough to solidify himself as a set starter, in my opinion,
No,
in
he
this
hasn't.
lineup, because I don't even know that we know what our best lineup looks like right now.
I don't think we do. I don't. Which is crazy to say this far into the season. I don't think we know that. And I also like look at the end of the day. Right now, his on off is negative. He has not been a positive impact on the court. And some people will point to that and say, "Oh, well, that's because he's out there with some of the bench guys or this and that." Jaime's on off is positive. Pella's is positive. And if you're playing with the bench guys, that means you might be playing against the bench guys. And if you're as good as
Exactly.
Ware is, you need to go out there and dominate, man. And there's a big thing too that I don't think people realize is part of the reason why Ware doesn't get some of these minutes. And it has to do with skill set. While he's a great shooter when when he's trying, he's a
Spo
great
is sick of
rebounder.
him taking threes.
He is sick of
The
him hunting the
disgust on
threes.
his face in the press conference was when he gets asked about Khalil and his threes. Spo
Yeah.
wants to throw up.
Because Kalel, man, he hits some, but he takes some shots that he's not supposed to take. And part of the reason is because, and anybody who's watching can notice this. How many times you see Kalel put the ball on the ground and dribble? Doesn't really happen. And part of this offense that we're running, part of any offense, is being able to not just shoot the three, but the threat that if they bite on your pump, you're going to drive in on them. And when you drive in, especially when you're 7-1, I mean, maybe that's just a dunk, but when you drive in, you draw another defender, maybe draw two defenders, and then you make the pass out. And that's the stuff that, while Jovic has had his issues this season, I'm not saying Jovic has been perfect. Jovic
That's
does
his
this.
strength, though.
Jovic pumps from three, drives in hard, and then draws one or two, makes the pass. And that's unselfish basketball that sometimes doesn't even lead to you getting an assist because sometimes it's a hockey assist. Sometimes you pass out to the guy in the
Exactly.
corner, they rush out to him, and then the guy in the wing is wide open from three. You get no stats on your book. Nothing shows that you did anything, but Spo saw that, the coach saw that, and we see that you made the right play. And where I saw him do it in preseason, I saw him do it in summer league. I have not seen him take somebody off the dribble since there was one game earlier this season that he did it once or twice. It might have been against the Pacers. I forget who it was,
And
but
that's interesting because in this new offense, that's what it's all about. This whole 5 out rotation stuff that they've got going on.
yeah, you got to be able to do that, man. It might be the next step for his game. Maybe he's not confident enough in that yet, and that's fine. He's a second year player. He's not going to be perfect at everything, but those are some of the reasons aside from even the effort that sometimes he's not on the court. He's not able to play make, and sometimes we need Jovic or Bam out there to be the playmaker, which they're doing
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah. So, yeah, man. I mean, I think it was interesting to see Spo apologize because while everything he said has been true, I think
It was
uh,
tough. It was a tough approach that he took.
it was a little bit too tough. And saying that someone's like intentionally playing bad, I don't think it's intentional. I get what he was trying to say and like what Wade joked about, like Spo reads too many books. It's like a subconscious thing where you're like, I don't give a shit because this guy's not playing me enough anyways. So like you're almost throwing a fit. But
Exactly.
that's
But
not
no,
something you want
you'd
to
you'd
vocalize.
actually really be surprised. Those things do happen.
No, I think that's
Like,
real.
it
I
happens. Now that Spo came out and just said it, it's kind of
that's
crazy.
that I don't think you should say that
Which
publicly.
Khalil Khalil was like, "That's crazy."
Yeah, I mean, it's like, wait, yeah, I do love some of Kalel's responses to things. I think he's funny, and I like the kid, man. I really do. I want him to put it
Me
all
too.
together, but he's not there yet. He is
He
not
got
there
to
yet,
grow
and
up
he
a little
needs
bit,
a little bit more, man. Just a little bit more. Maybe we have something on our hands here.
or we
Yeah,
just trade the shit out of him. which
Yeah,
we'll
or
get
that,
into.
for which we'll get into. But to anyone who's worked a job even, man, like, when you're feeling, whether it's true or not, but when you feel like you're not valued, you don't try as hard. And you might tell yourself, yo, when they give me a big project, when they give me this cool assignment, then I'm going to show them, but I'm not going to try on these bullshit assignments. And that's what Ware is doing. He's
Yep,
like, when Spo lets me start again, I'm going to go out there and ball, but like, he's going to play me 8 minutes, whatever, dude. I'll go out there and go through the motions. And it's like, no, man,
exactly.
you gotta, every single opportunity you have out there is an opportunity to prove how much of a baller you are. And he hasn't done that yet. So
No.
we'll move on a little bit. I did want to mention one thing, which comes out funnily enough while all this is happening. Uh, the Athletic put out a poll where they surveyed a bunch of different people in sports and asked them to rank their 5 leaders they most admired in 2025. They had a top 40 on here, and Spo was 16th on that list. And he's the only person from Miami, of course, on this list. But just thought that was pretty cool to see.
Not the
Happy to
media
see.
darlings.
No, there was a Steve Kerr was at the top, and I think a lot of
What
the
a joke.
admiration. I was about to say to Steve Kerr, I think a lot of the admiration, because that's a very vague sentiment. I think a lot of that might come from like social issues and like how they handle other things outside of necessarily just the game, which Steve
Mhm.
Kerr is pretty outspoken on all that. I'll give him credit. Um, Don Staley, Steph Curry, they're at the top here. Sam Presti is near the top, which I get. Asia Wilson was at number 9, or Asia Wilson. I was corrected once. Her name is pronounced Asia, like the continent. Asia Wilson is number 9, which was a little surprising to me. But yeah, Spo, 16th. I'm not mad at it. He's in the top 40.
Yeah.
Pretty cool to say. Longest tenured coach in American sports. Uh, one last heat
Yeah.
thing. Um, what do we do about Tyler, man?
I really don't know. So apparently he's getting an MRI on his
For his
ribs. I don't
ribs.
know. I'm not sure what happened.
It
Like, did
it
he
happened during the
fall?
OKC game, apparently. I mean, sorry, during the Celtics game, and
Did he
I
take an
don't
elbow? Like,
I guess I don't remember an injury happening during the game, but he must have just taken something.
I don't know, but Spo seems pretty fed up with it. In the press conference, he's like, I think it was yesterday or the day before, he was like, he basically said that the first injury, the foot injury, was uncontrollable. Shit
Yeah,
happens, right? And that's okay. But he's like, now we're in a space where this is a little too much. And to me, that's concerning because then it's like, do you really believe it's like a real rib injury? Does he feel like he's out of place? Does he, are we moving him? I mean, I was not on the trade hero wagon unless we could find a
something where
fit.
like I'm not doing a Trey
It's
Young
not John
trade.
Morant, please.
Yeah, we'll
I
get to
don't
that.
care that he just bought a vacation home here in Miami. He can keep it just like most of the NBA
Just
players.
like most players have, yeah.
Um, Man, I really don't know. I
Yeah.
also don't know if there's a player worth trading him for, you know?
I am of the opinion though at this point, and hopefully he comes back soon or that we get some kind of resolution to this soon, but I don't think we can keep starting him. And I was a number one advocate that off the year he just had, he has to be a starter. But you can't
That's a
just
tough position for Spo to be in
but you just can't
because
keep
those
coming
are
in
the
and
two
out of the
guys.
lineup. But it's 2 games he can play, 10 games he can't. 3 games he can play, 5 games
I
he
know.
can't. We like it's just
I
that
know.
we need at some point we need to lock in for 30 games. This is our starting lineup.
I
And
agree.
I don't know, man. It's tough. It is tough.
That's
It's a
why I
tough
think
spot for
Spo's
Spo.
kind of fed up with it too. He sounded
Yeah.
like it at least in the press conference.
You can't he doesn't know what he can rely on, man. I can't
Yeah.
imagine the stress
And as
there.
much as he would love to rely on Tyler because of all the encouragement, all the push that he's given him to
Yeah.
just get better every single year from that 6-man role to then be a starter because he knew how much it meant to Tyler to be a starter. And then being an all-star, and then this happens. It's kind of like, damn.
Yeah, it's a season from hell for Tyler. I do feel for him. Like it sucks for the team, but it sucks for him too on a personal level, I'm sure. Um,
Yeah.
so we'll get to that trade talk now. Where obviously Heat fans are now seeing that the Heat are maybe kind of backing out of interest from Jaw. They were interested if it didn't cost them
That's
anything.
Like I said in our group chat the other day, when do we ever listen to anything Windhorse says or any ESPN major net? I wouldn't just label it ESPN. That's flawed. I shouldn't do that. Any major network reporting done on the Heat. When do we ever? The local
Most of them,
reporters have all the information because and they don't have enough information. They have
no,
just more information than the national media guys, men and women do. Because again, like we always say, the Heat don't play the game, and the Heat are
no.
not media darlings. They don't. This whole leaking information thing is it's not necessarily what we do. We played the nasty game because Jimmy played it first, but like that was a first,
That
you
was a
know.
first, yeah, yeah. And we're not like right now, unless it's coming from one of those guys who's in the Heat locker rooms pretty often. I don't really care for the
Shout out
reporting.
to Five Reasons Sports or Barry
Five
Jackson.
Reasons, Locked On Heat, Barry Jackson, Cooper Moorhead. There's a bunch of guys who, you know, they're actually there, and
Yeah,
if they're reporting it, then I'll
exactly.
I'll listen a little bit more. And even then, like to what you just said, sometimes they're not getting all the info either because the Heat are super close to chest with this stuff. So again, we don't know, but I'm of the mindset, which I think most are, that the Heat aren't going to do anything that would risk them not being able to get Giannis in case he becomes available, whether it's this trade season or in the summer. 'Cause
I agree.
that's what people are hoping for. So
I
if we can get
agree.
Jaw for free, if we can get Jaw for a very simple trade that doesn't remove our draft capital, I think they would do it. But
I don't think
they're
it's
not.
gonna happen though.
Yeah, they're not going to do anything to jeopardize themselves being able to get Giannis, and so that's why I'm like I don't
Yeah.
think the Grizzlies are going to trade Jaw for nothing, and I don't think that we're going to give up enough to get him. Point
No, I
blank.
don't think it's worth it. Like I said, we're the best case scenario for him, but he's not best case scenario for us. So I just don't think it's a good fit. Um, Phoenix is not getting rid of Devin Booker. I would trade my left and my right hand and everything else to get Ant, but it just doesn't seem like that would ever happen, at least for the next few years.
Next few years at least, I'm like,
I
there's a
mean,
world in which I could see that happening because he's a hyper competitor, but we need a few years of Wolves failure for that to ever become a
exactly.
conversation, and
We
we're
need
not there
a
yet.
few years of Wolves failure and a little more Spo and Ant bonding over Team USA to
Another
really,
Olympic run, yeah, that's
not
like
even
4 or
just the
5 years
Olympic
down the
run.
line.
It could be the FIBA championships.
That's true. Yeah.
The FIBA championships, just a little tampering here and there, just like everybody else.
Just like everybody else. But there are a lot of teams that I'm looking at the map and like there's a lot of players who could be on the move in the next year, like come this summer even. I was going through the list and
Okay.
we'll just go through them one by one here. So at the top of this list, this is in no order of importance or relevance, but at the top I have the Knicks. I think if the Knicks flame out this year, if they don't at least make it to the finals and make a competitive finals, they're
With the
trading
East the
something.
way it is this year, yeah, they've got to trade someone.
Not to say they're trading Brunson, but Cat,
Nah,
OG,
I was gonna
McCall.
say Zesty King might be out of there.
Yeah,
I
that he
know he's
might.
the heart and soul, the Dominican soul of that team in New York, but
That's the
if
thing.
they
Like,
don't get
so
it done, he might get kicked to the curb again.
there's a lot of players on that team who could be on the move. I think that's totally reasonable and plausible that it could happen in this summer. The Cavs. If the Cavs flame out again this year in the
Yeah, I'm
playoffs,
hearing a lot of noise there.
that's Garland, it's Mitchell, it's Mobley, it's Allen. Uh,
Mitchell, who now wants to play for the Panama, you know,
yeah, yeah, which,
after
yeah,
putting on a Team USA jersey,
yeah, that's
loser. I
yeah.
would love him on our team though.
I would love him on the team though, but
I would,
so that's why I'm
I
like,
would trade, I would trade Hero, Ware, and everybody else that's not Bam and Powell for that guy
if the Cavs have a terrible playoff run where they don't look like they're ready to do anything again, you think
in
Mitchell's
this
gonna want to?
shitty East.
You think Mitchell's gonna want to keep hanging around unless they're able to make a good move to change it up to do something? So that's another one.
Yeah,
This one I'm not excited about. It's more other pieces, but the Mavericks are definitely looking to make trades to go young. But they got some pieces around the edge. I don't want Davis per se, but Gafford and even Clay for the right team. Those are some players that
I
could be
feel
on the
like
move.
if we move Ware to a team, I would love Gafford to be that like Dwayne Dedman backup to
I
Bam.
love Gafford. Yeah,
I think
he.
he would that fits the perfect role here. He's the perfect kind of player for that here. He's got the motor. I think that would be awesome if we do indeed have to move Ware to get
for
somebody.
something. Yeah, exactly. Orlando, if they flame out in the
Nah,
playoffs,
they're on the way up. Orlando's still building.
I think they're building, but I do think that there's a question there, and this might just be me. I've posted about it before that I don't know if they know that the Paolo and Franz fit is perfect or not. And I think there's a potential, whether it's this year or next year or 3 years from now, that they make a decision on one of those guys.
Well, we
And
know who it's gonna be, and it's not Paulo.
yeah, yeah. So
You're not getting rid of Paulo.
yeah, so that's my thought there. I don't know if it'll happen soon or what, but
What about a little cat and Paulo action in Orlando?
I mean, like that could be sick. I'd like that.
That would
Like
be kind of crazy. I don't know how it works basketball wise, but
you get the
that might be
floor
kind of
spacing big
crazy.
with you, yeah, and they have a defensive team to kind of shore up around Cat.
And
It's
then
not
the
like the
Knicks
issue
can go get a
now.
rebounder, someone that's
Exactly.
really gonna put in work.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. You see, like and then the thing is, when one domino moves, other dominoes start moving, which is
And that's where I thought the Giannis kind of noise was gonna start kicking up some dust from these other players and possible moves, but nothing's really happened. No one's really talking about anything this trade deadline. The big name every year at the trade deadline is always Kevin Durant. He's not going anywhere. He's happy as
no.
shit with those young guys in Houston.
But even then, and I think Houston, I'm not. This again is like the list is getting a little deeper here, but I could see a world in which Houston's really, really competitive in the playoffs this year, and they feel like maybe they're one move away from winning the chip.
Oh yeah.
And it's not KD they move, but maybe it's one of the younger guys that they're like, I love this guy, but if we can just get an older player who's just a little bit more seasoned, who's already there, and they can win us the chip, then that's the move you make. Sometimes you got to get rid of the young guy that your team loves. That's a team.
Yeah.
San Antonio, I could see but I could see them coming to the same kind of conclusion after a playoff run.
They may trade Fox. That's what I keep
Fox
hearing
too.
about. That
Yeah,
Fox might
to
be
go
on the
young,
way out in San Antonio given how well these guys are playing.
go younger with that. The Clippers, I mean, like we talked about that all season. That why not make trades? The Pelicans this year they don't have their own pick, so they're trying their ass off. But next year, I believe they do have their pick. Maybe next year's the year where they're like, "F it, let's get rid of some guys and
Get rid of
go
the Zion headache.
get rid of Zion, get rid of Trey Murphy for a bunch of picks. Like who knows, you know?" And
Yeah.
then we talked about the Wolves, which is a prayer, but that's
Yeah,
later on.
it's probably more than a prayer, but it's okay.
They would have to get absolutely punked, which I don't see happening. They'd have to
In
get
like the first
swept.
round.
They'd have to get swept in the first round for Ant to start making noise, and he wouldn't even demand a trade. He would just be pissed.
Yeah, no, they would trade everybody else, is what
They
they
would,
would do.
yeah.
They
You're
would
we're
clean
several,
house.
yeah. You're several things away from the Ant demand a trade. It requires some flameouts, cleaning house, another attempt, another clean house, fire the coach, and then
Yep.
another attempt before
And
Ant
then
gets
he
out of
might be
there.
sick of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a while away from that. They've got a lot of cards left to play. But yeah, that's why. So I want to say like Jaw's been the first kind of shiny piece. It's like you haven't gone late in a while, and like the first cute girl to like smile at you at the bar, and you're like, I need to drop what I'm doing and go all in. And it's like your boy's like, yo, there are more girls coming. I invited them, and they're hot, and they're coming later, man. And some of them said you were cute. Maybe you could talk to them. And you're like, nah, but she smiled at me, and she's like a 4 on a good day. And that's what people are feeling, I think, right now with the Jaw situation. And it's
Yeah.
like, yo, just chill. There will be more girls at the bar. More girls will come to the bar. And
Yeah, and
then
especially in a year where the East is kind of a toss-up. So if we get in the dance, we might be able to make some noise with the team that we have now just
regardless.
because the East kind of sucks.
Yeah, I'm like,
Everyone's hurt this year. It's kind of like
the
all over the place. It's a
the only team
crapshoot.
I do not want to play is the Pistons. That
Oh
is the
yeah, I know. They're
that's the only team I do not want to play.
they're a team that's a player away.
Yeah, get me away from Detroit. I don't want to play against them. They scare me. I think Cade Cunningham is a freaking beast. So leave
Cade Cunningham, man, top 5 in the league.
top 5.
Guaranteed.
I love that kid, man.
He
I think
plays no games.
he
That
is
guy
awesome.
is the real deal.
Straight up. That's hey, that could be one of the futures of USA basketball. Him, Anthony Edwards together out there. Like that's
I know. Yo, all right. I know this isn't in the
in the
schedule for the
docket.
show, but this All-Star game situation,
The
Team World
world.
versus Team USA, holy crap.
Yeah. It's
Just look up. Just let's talk about what this potential starting lineup could be for the All Star game. Right, Wemby at center, Jokic at the 4, Giannis at 3, SGA at the 2, and Luka Doncic at the 1. What are we doing?
That's you
Go
mean
get the dream team. They're not gonna beat them.
you mean literally the MVP race? It could be the starting five.
Literally.
Like
Go get the 1992 dream team. They won't beat that starting 5. I don't get it. Like,
that is
and then Donovan Mitchell's talking about, I want to play for Team World because I'm of Panamanian roots.
come on,
Get
man.
out of here, bro. You
What I
wore Team
do,
USA's jersey.
you know what? But maybe that's what it takes for the All Star game to be competitive again. Because Ant's gonna go out there and
The
not want to
American
get it.
players to get their ass kicked.
Ant's not gonna want to get his ass kicked.
No, it's gonna be him, KD, Curry, Braun, Cade
I,
Cunningham,
yeah,
Paolo.
yeah, like they don't. I don't think a lot of those guys want to get their ass kicked against the world team.
No, but they will.
They will though. I think. I mean,
That
assuming all
starting
these guys
5 is
play.
the Infinity Stones, dude. Like, what are we
Yeah, assuming all those guys play, which I think right now it's looking like they will. Holy
There's
shit,
a
that's a
reason why in the Olympics, like, we only play one of the countries at a time.
yeah. I think world is a lot, man. World is
Sheesh,
tough.
man.
Wow, that is
And
actually
that's
super
not like
scary.
throwing Sengun and all these other Franz and all
Well,
these
and
other players on the bench.
don't forget that the USA team too is also getting split up into two teams. So it's not even one ultra USA team. They're splitting up the USA roster to two different little mini teams. So that's
At
not
least do
enough.
that with the Team World, not Team USA, dude.
Yeah, like there's too many good world players, man. There's way too many. Damn.
It's not fair.
That's
Sorry, I went
actually
off on a tangent there about
no,
that.
no, that actually has me excited. I kind of want to see us get wrecked for 1 year in the All-Star game just to like
Bring
maybe
it
light a
back,
fire under everybody's ass.
But yeah, back to like the trade situations. I mean, in Detroit specifically, Detroit, man, I think they're a player away for real. I
I
really
think
do.
so. I,
I was a big fan coming into the season because of what I saw last year. I mean, they lost 3 out of the 4 games against the Knicks that they lost in the last 2 minutes of the game.
the close ass games, and they had
And
injuries,
that
and they
to
were
me
young.
was is pure experience.
Yeah, and now they
That
have
to
that.
me was their youth that killed them. And
I
the
take the
Knicks having been there before.
I take the Pistons over the Knicks right now. Right now,
This
I
might be controversial, it may not be, but my pick out of the East right now would be Detroit.
mine too. 100% mine too. I'd honestly be somewhat surprised if it's not. Straight up, I would be somewhat surprised if it's not
You
Detroit out
never
of the
know with
East
Boston because,
with the Tatum
Missoula, with
thing.
Jaylen Brown, if Tatum does start to come back a little bit here
Yeah,
closer to the
that's a good
playoffs.
point. That's a good point.
And even
That's
then,
a
they've been there before, they've won, they know what it's like to lose, but they also know what it's like to win.
yeah.
But my pick right now would definitely have to be Detroit, man. I think they're like a player away.
We've both been on that since before the season started. We've both
Yeah.
been pretty high on Detroit, and that's been it's been accurate so far.
Yeah.
Moving on, a team that is interesting, as really really interesting. The Lakers. All right. Of course, I'm going to find a way to bring in the Lakers. I haven't talked about them in a little while.
Lake
They are
Show.
currently 13-1 in clutch games. They have the best clutch record in the NBA by far. They've won 92.9% of their clutch games, right? But in the other losses, in all of their 13 losses, they've lost by double digits. So they're the only team that's above 500 that has a negative net rating. They win all their clutch games, but if it's not a clutch game, they get smoked. So I'm wondering, is it just kind of one of those things where it's a cheat code to have LeBron, Luka, and AR in a clutch game? More specifically, LeBron and Luka, where if it comes down to possession, we're trading buckets, and you have the two of the smartest guys in the NBA. Is that just a cheat code? And is that
Sounds like
a key?
playoff basketball to me.
That's what I'm like. It sounds like a key to success for playoff basketball. But then, you look at the other side and it's like maybe they don't have the defense to hold up and they'll get blown out in some games. I don't know.
Yeah, not if Luka's not playing defense.
But that makes me think that maybe like when the games are going bad, they kind of just give up. They don't,
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I'm not too sure. I have friends. Well, like D is a huge LeBron fan, so he's a Laker fan for now. You know how that
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
And he watches every single game, and yeah, from what I've gathered from talking to him about it, is that AR is clearly not the problem. Uh, Rich Paul's got to chill
Rich Paul does got to chill. Yeah.
because he clearly didn't realize the conflict of interest in his new business venture.
Yeah.
But it's that has to cause like real issues, in that
Yeah.
locker room to the point where LeBron had to come out and talk about it,
That's
which he doesn't like doing.
he does not like to do that. No.
Um,
That's
the LeBron thing, I mean, now it's All-Star break, right? So like, is he gonna
it's
be
about to
healthy?
be.
Is he gonna play consistently? When he plays consistently, man, he still got it. But
He's freak of nature, man.
he's still the
Freak.
king, man. But again, is he gonna play consistently now that it's gonna be February coming up soon? The rest of the way? Maybe. He's kind of
May-
taking the first half of the year off.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he took a bunch of
Maybe
games
this
off
is a
with
way for
sciatica.
him to stay fresh until the playoffs. But if Luka's not gonna play any defense, there's just no fix. There really is
No.
no fix because when things get in the nitty-gritty, they're gonna lose if Luka can't play defense.
Yeah, he
He's
needs
gonna
to
get
show.
abused the same way he has in other playoff matchups. The issue, the saving grace for them is that Luka's gonna score 50
Yeah.
and say,
He's just
"Yeah, you can bully me all you want, but I'm gonna bully you too."
Yeah,
So
he's just and the way he scores on you, the way he dissects your defense, it's demoralizing. It
yeah, I think they do need another 3-and-D guy though,
I think man, they're a team to look out for too on the trade market. Yeah.
and
I mean, they've been
they
eyeing
need a
Wiggins for
rebounder.
forever.
They
They've
need
been
a
eyeing
rebounder
Wiggins for that
'cause
reason. The rebounds, the D, the three, like he's got it all for that they
they
wanted.
need
And
to
I don't
come
want to
get
lose.
Wiggins.
I'm like, if I don't want to lose him, but you send a couple picks my way and we can make it happen. We could talk. Uh,
Yeah, man.
but yeah, very interesting to see. And then last but not least on the docket here, I just want to shout out Kevin Durant. Another one of the GOATs, another one that we're starting to get to that point where some of our favorite players, the players we grew up with, are phasing out. KD is still playing spectacularly, and he just passed Dirk sixth all time in scoring. Uh,
Damn.
yeah,
He
uh,
feels re-energized with this young group though, and
he
in a new
does.
role of where like he's being a mentor, but being a mentor in his own way. And that I think Ime deserves a lot of credit for that, for allowing KD to kind of be the vocal leader in his own way, which he's never really been before, but giving KD the open space to be the leader that he wants to be and not your cliche, like I'm
Bus
just gonna be
driver.
hard on you all the time, bus driver type leader, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that this is like the perfect scenario for KD. I think it worked out for him. I also want to shout out. This was a stat that was sent by the NBA Starting Five email. Uh, Durant is on pace to average 25 plus points per game on over 50% shooting for a 14th straight season, the longest streak of all time.
Greatest scorer ever.
There's just one
Ever.
season in there that he missed with the Achilles injury, but outside of missing a season, 14 straight seasons, 25. Yeah, greatest scorer ever, dude. I put this little chart here, so picture points by shot zone, and it's from everywhere. It's
He's
free throws.
elite at every kind of shot from all over the court.
He has 7,500 points from free throws, 7,000 points from mid range, 6,800 points from 3-point, 6,400 from the restricted area, 3,700 from the paint. Like
He can shoot at an elite level from any spot on the court.
anywhere,
That's
man.
unheard of.
Yeah, he's what you said. I think it. I don't care. I don't care what anyone
I
else's
understand that
opinion.
LeBron scored the most points in
No,
history,
but KD is the greatest
but
scorer ever.
you just can't. KD's been unstoppable since he came into the NBA.
Yeah, he's the most unguardable scorer to me.
Yeah.
He's
You just have to understand that if he wants to get 30, he's going to get 30.
yeah, he's
Go
seven.
cover someone else.
He says he's 6'11". He's 7 feet with
He's 6'11", but then he's like 7'5".
yeah. I'm like he's 7 feet with the handles of a fucking shooting guard, point guard. That now he doesn't dunk it as much as he used to. I mean, he's 37 years
Oh,
old,
the
but
old nickname, the Durantula.
yeah, man, he used to get up for those dunks, reach over you.
For the
Man,
rebounds.
the
When he was with the
rebounds.
Warriors, he started actually playing a little defense.
He's just an
Like
amazing.
we've seen all the phases of KD's career, and it's impressive, man. Impressive. He deserves all the credit for real. And he's done it his
Truly.
own way. He's done
Yeah,
it his own way, whether people like it or not. It is what it is, but you can't deny the
you can't
greatness
deny it.
on
I'm a hater
offense,
for the
man.
Warriors thing. I
KD
don't
is
care, but yeah,
greatest scorer ever.
the reason why I can be a hater about the Warriors thing is because of how much I value KD. Like,
Yes.
I think that guy is cheat codes. So that's why I'm a hater. If I didn't think he was good, then I couldn't have the
No
opinion that
one
it
would
was,
care.
no one would care if he was just another guy. No, it's because, yo, you're one of the best players to ever touch a basketball. Like, genuinely speaking. So, but shout out to him. Also, shout out to Dirk for he made a video for KD as like a little tribute for him passing the sixth,
Dope.
passing him on all-time scoring. Just Dirk is
Shout out to that
classy as per
Amazon
usual.
Prime crew, man.
Dude, it's more and more. Everybody's loving it. And I don't blame them because Amazon really cooked. They really, really cooked with that show. They did a great job. Before we get us out of here, it's not Thursday. We're not doing Burnt Out, Fired Up. But either way, I want to say that I think I can safely say I speak for us both that we're fired up for tonight.
Yep.
Because
Go
the
Canes,
University of Miami, baby.
Go Canes.
We are playing in the Natty. We are playing against another Miami-born player and the QB for Indiana.
Yeah.
It's
He's also
an
a
exciting
Miami
day.
fan. He just,
Yeah, it's an exciting day. Look, win or lose, obviously I want to win. It's going to be way better if we win.
Canes by $1 billion.
Canes by
Word
$1 billion.
to Max.
Word to Max, man. That's every time I text him after the game. Canes by $1 billion. Love it. So, yeah, just shout out to them. Shout out to that. Super happy that it's happening. And yeah, appreciate you, Adrian. Thank you for joining the show.
Always happy to be here, man. Thank you for having me.